Hi guys, Crystal here from SavvyBroker.com, and I want to visit with you guys today about title insurance and title companies. Who gets to choose the title company in your real estate transaction? Oftentimes you go to write up your buy-sell and the realtor will recommend a title company and you'll just be like, okay. So I think sometimes the buyer and sellers think that they're choosing the title company, but really the realtor most of the time is steering you towards a particular title company. So why are they doing this? Well, for me, I kind of did that too, so I'm probably guilty of that. I would say, they'd be like, well, what title company do you use? So I tell them who I use. And the reason I used a certain title company was because they were nice to me. They were nice to my clients. They got all the information we always all the information we needed. Never caught them in a lie. I just really liked this particular title company. And so that was kind of some of the reasons that I had. But I've recently realized, it was about 6 months ago I learned, the RESPA laws mean that on this particular issue, it is illegal for the realtor to choose the title company. So, for example, in my area, not too long ago, a realtor chose the title company. He forced it on the buyer. The buyer called the title company and canceled their closing because they wanted the closing to be at another title company. The buyer gets to choose what title company they use. The seller gets to choose, but quite often the realtor is the one who chooses. So anyway, the realtor went to their local association of realtors and said, look, this real estate broker, a broker owner, a high up, realtor celebrity, forced their buyer to go to the title company that he recommended. And this is illegal. So they wanted to complain about this particular incident. And the local association of realtors told them to just let it go because of who the guy was. So apparently the guy had been in town, his whole life. He was one of those brokers who got a license for $10 because, back in the day, which was 20 years ago, $5 you could get a sales license, $10 you could get a broker's license. So he'd been around forever. So he had plenty of money, plenty of political clout, and the association at the local level didn't want to make any waves because, he makes money, pays his dues, he can afford bigger attorneys. So they actually told this agent just to let it go. Quite often the local association of realtors will do that. They'll just encourage their members to just let it go. They don't want them to tattle on each other. But then at the same time they'll send out all these mass emails to get them to tattle on each other for things like really, really bad stuff like buyer's rebates. Talk about that in a later video, but anything that is going to hurt the real estate consumer, that's what the realtors are for. So, you need to know that you get to choose the title company. It is illegal for your realtor to choose the title company. Other reasons that your realtor might choose the title company, I always thought, well, the title company, they don't make a whole lot of money. Like the gals who work there, I say gals because I'm used to gals, but I know had some closings in Oregon and there was quite a few guys at the title company too. But they don't make a whole lot of money. The closings are like $200, $500, whatever. They're not a whole lot of money, but the title insurance is big money. So sometimes the realtors get kickback on title insurance. Can't prove it, just a speculation, Google it. But just know that these are some of the reasons where they steer you that way. Okay, so how much is title insurance? Well, it varies, of course, and it's actually useless. It's just a way to get your money. So you get title insurance. You have a closing 30 or 60 days later. Okay, now the seller pays for the title insurance quite often. Sometimes it's negotiated. So you got 30, 60 days. Closing 90, whatever. Now, during this time, the seller may go out and get another loan. Now, if the seller goes out and gets another loan, then there's a lien on the property that wasn't on the title insurance at the time. Well, I always assumed that it's preliminary title. It says right on it, preliminary title. So you think you get the title, and then 30, 60 days, you think they go in and they check again. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I had a closing in Idaho once, and they said, okay, do you want to buy extra title insurance? We're like, well, why? I mean, the seller's already got the title insurance, right? My buyer wasn't getting a loan, they were paying cash. Why do we need extra title insurance? Well, they said you need the extra title insurance. Now, the title company wasn't pushing this, the realtor was pushing it, okay? And they said you need extra title insurance in case, during the time of escrow, that 30, 60, 90 days, whatever, if they went out and got a loan or lien on the property, then that would protect from that. Well, the title company should offer that with the original fee, so it's a way to get more money. Okay, if the buyers have a mortgage, then the mortgage company buys, which actually the buyer pays for in the long run or up front, title insurance. So you got one transaction. You got this hokey dokey 30, 90 day, we got to really make sure title insurance. You got the seller's title insurance and the buyer's title insurance, and this can add up to a whole lot of money. Now, if the realtor were to get kickback on this and get it over and over and over, it could be a nice little income boost. So there's quite a few reasons why a realtor might do that. So you choose the title company that you want and don't let your realtor steer you that way. So what is the benefit of title insurance? Oh, nothing. What does title insurance protect you from? Nothing. The title company doesn't keep copies of inspections. They don't insure whether you have access to a property. They insure a legal description. If you're buying a legal description different than what you thought you were buying, well, no. They don't necessarily check the address with the legal description. I've seen people actually end up buying property down the street and not even know for years because of the legal description. So they don't insure any of that. They don't insure that the house is sound. They don't keep copies of anything that might be useful to anybody. What do they do? I once had a seller who had a $400,000 note on a property. That would be a lien, a mortgage. And there was a closing, and the title company, didn't even catch it. They didn't pay the $400,000 note. I stopped the closing, like right at the closing, and I called the lender myself because I didn't want this to go any further and my buyer to be strapped with this debt. So my buyer was going to get the property, right, and have their own mortgage, and on top of that they'd had an extra $400,000 debt because the title company didn't catch it. No, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough. I've seen title companies send out, say somebody owned a property a few years back, but it changed hands a few times. So they look at the legal description and they go and they get the wrong title insurance. They send it out, right? Or say they send this title insurance, say the seller has several properties. Now they're negotiating with the buyer and they got a deal going. The title company sends the wrong title insurance. They just look at their name and send one on another property they have, right? So not only now do they know about more properties that the seller has, which the buyer shouldn't know that, it's none of their business. They also know the debt on the property because the title insurance shows the debt, right? So these are the kinds of things, then they get mad. They're like, well, they don't need that money, or we could have paid less because they're way in debt, or, there's lots of reasons. But for you, look at the title insurance and make sure that they are taking this debt off of the sellers. Make sure that it's a debit to the seller. You don't get to see the seller's closing papers, so you don't really know. But you have to make darn sure there's no liens on that property before you buy it, because the title company can make mistakes. What's their incentive not to, really? I've seen the title companies do some pretty shocking things, and well, they're not liable. Realtors aren't liable, appraisers aren't liable, nobody's liable. So you, the real estate consumer, need to know more before you sign, because later everybody's paid and they've run off, and there's nobody there to protect you. So those are just some tidbits about title insurance. There's got to be something that title insurance is useful for, though. Well, when I think of it, I'll do another video. Have a great day out there, and check out SavvyBroker.com and RealEstateIndustryWhistleBlower.com.